Hi, everybody. I'm Don Victory, the founder and chair of Energy Mentors, and I'm here with the team Jellyfish, the winners of Distinguished Design for Urban Planning in our inaugural Power the Community competition. So this team is from the Gerald Hines School of Architecture and Design at the University of Houston, and the team members are Yenko, Lucia Poggioli, Jailyn Benavides, Leslie Alamirra, Lauren Smith, and not with us tonight because she's on a academic trip to Japan is Yulisa Tran. So welcome, and along with them, we have their professor, Dr. Bruce Race. So hello, everybody, and let's jump right in. And I'll start with a question for the team leader, Yen. How did you get into this? How did you
Well,
get into
hi.
the competition?
Yes. So part of this studio that we've signed up for is a quad zero. And what we decided on doing is we've realized that the goals of the class align with the ones of the competition. But basically how the studio would go itself is that we would get an agenda and we would figure out the first part of the semester would be doing research on the specific questions or figure out a prompt that we want to face. And then the second part of the semester is that we used our own individual efforts to create a project that would help realize the client's vision. And we would do it, every individual person would have their own projects, but it would come together to create a cohesive story. So, yes.
Cool. Well, now I have to ask Dr. Bruce Race, what's this with Quad Zero Design Studio? What's the background here?
Well, that's the future. They have to face that. So the American Institute of Architects has Architecture 2030. So there's a, a commitment, profession-wide commitment to net zero buildings by 2030. So we want the students to understand the language of net zero and be able to, also have some impact in Houston. Every semester we have a community partner. So we work with the Houston Land Bank, North Central Houston. And so the students did their analysis work, as Yen was saying. And Yen, didn't you guys did the demographics, right? Because I think
Right.
that really showed in their story and their narrative. They really knew who the community was.
And Quad Zero, so what are the 4 zeros that you're aiming for?
Well, net zero greenhouse gas emissions, energy, water, and waste. So we've developed a set of calculators for them to use. So they have to, use real numbers and real strategies, and they have to be able to quantify it.
Cool. So Lucia, how did you connect with this? What attracted you when you got into this?
So I'm going to speak a little bit for myself, but I think it's also true for the team. We are studying architecture or chose this career because that's our superpower to change the world. We are trying to find solutions for problems that are in our world, and they exist and they continue to exist. So like the energy and sustainability, that is what architecture is looking towards right now in the future. And so this competition aligns with that, as Professor Bruce was saying, with um, the 2030 goal for architecture. We are just trying to make our buildings and our plans just more sustainable. And I think that's what attracted me to this studio and to the competition as well. It's just like, how can we do things better for the future?
Cool. Now, uh, Jailyn, one of the requirements were you were to define the requirements of the aspirations of the community. So what were those aspirations that you were trying to design for?
So whenever we were first researching the first part of like the actual neighborhood, which was a near Northside within Houston, we decided to go ahead and look at the broader neighborhood area, like the whole site itself, to see what actually was needed for the community and what they could potentially use and utilize that is currently not there. So we went ahead and focused and created different areas within the site itself. We did go ahead and create 3 areas. The first zone mostly focused on like the health aspect of like individuals. The second is like to provide a connection from the east to the west, but also provide amenities for the neighborhood community. And then the third one is to activate more of like the downtown area with the universities and everything to provide more of activity and more vibrancy towards the community.
Cool. Lauren, how did the team kind of gel and come together in order to attack it? I mean, it seems on purpose, the work scope for the competition is a little nebulous. Dr. Bruce Race gave you a big mandate. How did you get your arms around it, and how did you work as a team in order to bring about a coherent solution that the team took to winning a prize?
I think our biggest thing was that when we were together, we really tried to focus on the bigger picture. That way, when we went in out on our own to continue to work on it, we were able to break down into our individual sections and still have that bigger overarching theme that we were trying to work towards, and be able to start to kind of individualize that to our own little section of this neighborhood, so that we could really focus on their, also focusing on the overarching goal of this energy push.
Cool. Yen, what led to some of the technical choices that were made in order to put the neighborhood together? You're trying to revitalize the near north side. There was a lot of empty land. How did you make some decisions that merged the aspirations of the community to the technical?
As part of the research into the neighborhood itself, we wanted to make sure that we work from the bottom up, taking on understanding the livelihoods of the people that live there, and also what are the features that we could also bring to life and also like highlight. So one of the main features of the site was that illustrated on all four sides, there is access to the highway, but also more on that, there's like a big section that's a lot closer on the left to the bayou. And what we know is like when a neighborhood is cut off from the highway, then there seems to be the lack of access to get from one place to another. So that's why we wanted to capitalize on the existing BRT line that was there, and also extend it across the opportunity zones that we wanted to connect back to the neighborhood. And also by understanding the existing site, we were given like brownfield sites that were in the middle of the site, and also the goals were to basically make that profitable for us and also for the neighborhood. But by taking that, we wanted to also understand that any efforts that we do to finalize our master plan was not going to be something that would be destructive toward the neighborhood. So we made sure that our the efforts were very calculative and understanding how it could play a part to the people that are currently living there and also the future generation. And
so,
yes.
Go ahead, continue.
Oh yeah, so that was just like the technical like research part. Now, what we wanted to do was bring a new goal into the site. So what is our efforts and how can the neighborhood benefit? And that our other idea that we decided to integrate is also we're leaning into a biofuel. So that's why we wanted to really explore the idea of algae as one of them, and highlight the pros and cons that would come out of that.
Good. So Lucia, do you want to talk a little bit about, I understand each team member then had to take a piece of the master plan in order to bring it to life. What piece did you bring to life, Lucia? And what elements of the net zero energy vision did you build into that?
Well, I guess I took on two different parts, but at two different moments of the project. So at first, I went into our third zone, which was closer to downtown. And so it was more targeted towards younger people and to attract that population.
Yeah. Lucia, can you turn up your microphone somehow? We're losing it.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to use the headset. My computer mic is horrible, but I'm just trying to speak louder, closer to the computer. Can you hear me now?
Can hear you much better now. Just go ahead, reboot from the start, and we'll cut out the last 45 seconds.
Okay, I apologize. All right, so I took on the area C, or what we call it. It's closer to downtown and to the Metro Rail as well. That is the first area that I was researching, and it was more targeted towards younger people because it is adjacent to UHD, which is one of the universities that we have here in Houston. And so we wanted to attract the people from downtown and outside the neighborhood into near Northside, because one of the things that we found out was that a lot of the new developments in the area were advising or advertising amenities from outside the neighborhood, and we wanted to bring people inside our neighborhood to continue to redevelop the area. And then further on in the project, I moved on into the algae city because that is another area that we have, because I did my individual project in that area as well. So I moved, I shifted along, and I think we all did a little bit of that while working, because it is a team effort. Like, we're not just focused on one area. We all wanted to know what was going on in the other areas as well.
Okay, so this next one's a jump ball question, because some of you actually designed a bioalgae reactor into the facade of the buildings or into raceways. So was one of the team members on the phone involved with that? And can you give us a little bit about the approach you took to generating algae and integrating that to the building? Who wants this one?
I can take it. So when we were looking at it, we were very much looking at the algae. You have kind of your panels and your pipes and your raceways, and there's not a lot of wiggle room that you have as far as how those look. You can't really just design them in a fancier shape just because you want to, or make them a prettier color because you think it would be better. So we were really playing with how we could bring these algae and this kind of restrictive needs to get it enough sunlight so that it could produce into our buildings, but it not look like it was just slapped onto the building, make it look more like it was part of the building. And so there was a lot of work. I think on Yin's, she kind of allowed it to fade in and out on the roof. And I know with mine, I was really working with not only bringing it in through solar panels, because but then also allowing it to be an actual facade that could be a key element that people were wanting to see and attracted to and wanting to look in more detail, and that would allow them to come to the building and be interested in it.
And that's a key aspect of your net zero approach as a team, is that with the algae absorbing CO2, for every 1 pound of algae produced, you were pulling 1.8 pounds of CO2 out of the air. So that was a pretty neat feature. Okay, how about Jailyn? What are you most proud of in the teamwork and what you all came up with?
What I am most proud of as a team was we were able to find an alternative, sustainable approach that has yet to be further explored. So something that we took upon and just went with it, but also try and provide something for the community to become an engine, because Houston is known for its oil and petroleum. So we wanted this neighborhood or community to be known for something, but also provide energy and be a hub for the people in itself. So I feel like that's something that I'm most proud of for our team, providing something very different, radical, but very sustainable, but able to modify it and use architecture and urban planning and landscaping within the community.
Lauren, let me go back to the algae. Did you try to incorporate algae production into any of your buildings, and what insight do you have there?
I did. I incorporated it into mine, and I think the biggest thing with that is just you really have to know, with any building, you have to know where the sun is, but you really have to know it with the algae, because you can't just place it on any facade. It has to have enough sun, and you have to be able to regulate its temperature and how much water it's getting, so that its nutrients, so that the algae is able to produce this hydrogen at max capacity. And so it was very much about figuring out where you could place it on the building, and then figuring out how your design could allow that to be a feature instead of just a requirement.
Okay, let me go to Leslie and then Yen, and I'll finish with Dr. Race. Leslie, looking back, what do you think you really did right as a team, and what do you wish that maybe you had done a little differently?
Well, starting off with the right, of course. I think we really did a good job of not forgetting who we're doing it for, because we could have just started doing whatever we wanted, no matter the price, just because it looks good. but we did want to see how we could help and actually develop this area. So in order to revitalize it, and we just don't want to forget our actual clients, you know? And then what we could do better, I would say more of our pacing of things, because in the first half we started doing a lot of research and we would dive to different places and then we had to drag each other back in order to get back on track. But overall, I think we did it pretty good. Mhm.
You just got in there and attacked it, and that's part of the learning innovation process. Unless you actually get doing, you can't make adjustments as you go along. Is that how it kind of happened?
Yeah. Whatever we find that we needed help with, we would ask for sure. And then we always try to make it reasonable. You can't have it be outlandish. Because we don't have the words to back it up, the technology to back it up. We always need to know how it's done.
Cool. Yen, this is the first year of a competition. People are going to compete next year. What words of advice do you have to those people who are going to compete next year based on your lessons this year and what you discovered?
I would like to say this not just from the standpoint of a competition, because even though that was what we signed up for, what we had in mind was just making sure that we completed the project, but making sure that we were all on the same page. I think that one, really checking in with your team, because in the end, it's not just your work, but it's all of our efforts put together. And overall, just the studio itself, it taught me a lot on how everything is a learning experience, not just about the experiences that you go through, about the team building, but also you learn things about yourself and the people that you work with or surround yourself with. So taking those things into mind and becoming flexible and really like understanding other people's needs and kind of coming to like consensus. I guess like one of the main things is always one of the things that we had difficulty on was coming up with the same like one decision to really overrule, and that would constantly change. But that's normal. That's just because as we figure out new things, we are inspired by the things, and we take don't stay cooped up too long in the studio. We took in a few like little trips together so we can get something to eat just to get away from it, and then when we come back we feel refreshed and then we're willing to work again. So that's like taking breaks is important too.
And getting out in the real world. And I imagine you visited the site and that brought a lot of reality to your design.
Yeah, we did it on our own time.
Okay, so Professor Race, first of all, I have to thank you for your leadership, because a significant number of our entries in this competition actually came from your class. And in fact, a lesson for me in order to get more participation is, how do I get university professors to maybe adopt these type of competitions for capstone projects or for design studios like you have? So what would be your message to other university professors on why their students should be taking part in these type of competitions? Hopefully ours, but in general, these type of competitions.
Well, I think this team demonstrated the ability to handle the complexity of a problem like this. So architects are integrators. We tend to be the prime contractor on projects. We have to organize a team, have a broad understanding what problems need to be solved. And so this team did an excellent job on their narrative. They really worked very hard on their story. And I think also you saw that how they handled the community development piece of it, and how they developed a plan that was for the community, and the community's future in the energy transition. That was really important. So if you have an architecture studio or an urban planning studio, these are the problems that our students are going to have to address in the future. So Don, they will be 20 years younger than you and I by the time they solve this in 2050, right?
Yes.
Okay, just to put it in perspective, they have a lot. This next generation has a lot to do by 2050, and so your energy competition, helps provide an opportunity to showcase how different colleges and classes are addressing one of the most pressing problems we have for mankind. So it's really important for other university professors to see this as an opportunity to develop a course syllabus that aligns with the competition.
People of our age demographic may know techniques and calculations and methods. It's actually kind of proven scientifically that the really new innovative ideas is actually coming from people under the age of 40. So this group of people over the next 20 years are going to bring forward a merging of those techniques and knowledge of the past in their innovative ideas and their energy to solve this. The other thing I have to note about Team Jellyfish is the judges did not have a preordained category for urban planning. It's an energy competition. It's a competition of both ideas and design. You have to have ideas and you have to render it. And you folks brought the goods of bringing forward ideas, integrating the energy thought with the quad zero background that we talked about, and your architectural skills with a focus on a community and their needs in order to bring this forward. So you actually created the award category you won, because the judges, after seeing the award, said, we need to award a distinguished design to this team for their urban planning and how they, in that aspect of how they brought forward a solution in this competition for Power of the Community. So I'm going to give you a round of applause, but I think you should all give yourselves a round of applause. And I congratulate Team Jellyfish from the University of Houston, Gerald D. Hines School of Architecture and Design. So thank you, Lauren and Yen and Jailyn and Leslie and Lucia. I wish Yulisa was here, but I'm glad she's continuing the development of her career while on her trip. So thank you very much. I have to also thank our sponsoring companies, our founding sponsors, Chart Industry, Aspen Technology, Ernst & Young, and our software sponsor, MathWorks. Without people like them, without your professors, and without other supporters of Energy Mentors, we can't do the competition. So you all can bring forward the ideas to solve our energy transition problems of the future. So thank you all for spending some time chatting with us, and congratulations on your win. And we're looking forward to seeing what you're doing to meet what Dr. Bruce Race put out there. You're going to solve this problem in the next 20 years. So good luck. We'll be watching, and let us know how we can help. So thanks you all. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.